Hi, beautiful people. How you are doing? Yeah, it's nice to have you here once again. Thanks for watching all my previous videos, and thanks for always looking out for my new videos. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't, please try and like this video and as well subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you. Today I'll be taking you through how I made this illusion dress, the exact one I'm wearing. Like, I had to record the entire process of making the dress from scratch. Oh, I didn't take you guys to how I got the fabric. So basically I used about three fabrics for the entire dress. The first one is fabric I got. It's not a stretchy fabric, so it's just a very light fabric and the exact color of my skin. And some people are very good at getting fabrics that colors that are very close to the skin. But for myself, I had to go to the market and use most of the fabrics I got, take it very close to my hand and see if it really matches. And then I eventually got this one. So this was like the perfect match for my skin, and as you can see in the dress I made, it was like my skin showing. Then after getting that plain fabric, I got a tulle net, the exact color of my skin as well, or the exact color of the fabric I got, so to match with it. You can see it's basically very, very thin, and once I wear the dress, it doesn't even look like I wore something else. It will just look like it's my skin popping. So that's it. And the third fabric I got was the lace. So in getting your lace, it's good to look through it and examine the lace properly, so you'd get a lace that you can easily cut out patterns from it, like laces that have very beautiful and nice patterns. So that's what I looked out for, and that was exactly what I got. If you don't want to get laces, you can buy your trimix, but in buying trimix you would need a whole lot of it, a lot of trimix. But for me, I prefer to go for the lace, so I got the lace, and I got one that could easily cut out nice shapes and all of that. So the other options you can use for the lace, you can use your appliques, you can use your trimmings, you can use flowers, you can use any nice decorative things, you can use beads, whatever it is you have that can fill up the tulle fabric or the plain fabric you got. You can just get any of that to fill in the spaces. So going into the business of the day, we'll be starting off with the plain fabric I got. The plain fabric that looks exactly like my skin color. You don't need a very thick fabric. No, just something very light that can serve as a lining for the lace you're using. So I started off by drawing out my basic bodies. And for the upper part. Then after drawing it out, I had to mark out a curve for the tube part of the dress. I wanted the inner part to be tube. Yes, so I marked it out, then I cut it off. Yeah, so I'm done cutting it off. Then I just spread the clothes so you'd see what it looks like. It's not really showing because I placed it on the same fabric, so I'll just move it to another color fabric. Oh, okay, so here it is. You can see how I cut it. I made it like off shoulder and a sweetheart neck all together. So that's it. Then I had to go to the back, cut off the back pattern. For the back pattern, I didn't even take it up to the arm length since it's going to be like a tube top, so I just started with the tube and I cut it down to the waist. Okay, yes, and cut it down to the waist. So I went as well to cut the lower part, that's lower part, the skirt part from the waist to above my nail. The gown was a short one, so it's just going to be above my nail. I cut the front one and the back pattern as well. I go over to the tulle. So for the tulle, I didn't cut it the same pattern I cut the previous fabric. For the tulle, it's very light and it's stretchy and all of that, so I didn't want to go through the whole stress of having to cut it and trying to join it together. So for the tulle, I just cut out my basic bodies for the tulle, the up and down. I didn't divide it by the waist. I did not make a princess dart. I didn't do anything. I just cut it straight from the shoulder down to my desired length, and then I cut the back as well, and I left it at that. So I went ahead to join the upper part of the fabric I cut. I joined the upper parts, like the princess pattern I cut, and I joined the upper part with the lower part as well. Then at the neck part, I sewed the fabric to it, so I'll just turn it when I'm done with that. That's it. I wanted to be dealing with all the fabrics I got one at a time, so you don't miss out on any of the process. So back to my lace, I picked out the lace, and I started cutting out my desired style. Like, there are so many patterns on the lace. You can see there's something that looks like a flower, there's another one that looks like leaf, and some are stems. There are so many beautiful patterns, so I just started cutting them off one by one to get my desired design. For the toe fabric, the only parts I'm going to be joining together is the sides and the shoulder, just the sides and the shoulder. So I'll leave the back part opened. Then after sewing that, I'll just place the two fabric I've joined together with the other fabric I sewed together. I'll place them on top of each other, and I'll properly arrange it. So the tube part, that's the sweetheart neckline, will start from exactly where it should start from, while the other two fabric will start from the shoulder. So I just place them properly. So for those with a body form or a mannequin, this is the time to set your fabric on the body form and properly arrange it well, so you don't make any mistake. But for myself, I didn't have a body form at that point, so it was a bit hard for me. But since I was making the dress, and my measurements were accurate, so it was easy to just place it over each other on the table and get the exact thing I wanted. So the next step is to start taking out all those designs we cut out from the lace and be placing it on the fabric to get your desired design. So for me, I wanted to cover the whole bust area, and the middle of my waist, and my tummy. I wanted to cover that part, and the entire part of the hips down to the last point of my desired length. I wanted to cover all of that, so I had to place the lace I cut out to fill in those spaces. I bet you this is the hardest part of the entire work, fixing it and having to attach it to it and making sure it comes out at a very beautiful design. So you have to take all the time you can for this. You can keep working on it for 3-4 days, in fact a week if possible, just so you get exactly what you want. So at this point, the laces I cut out was not enough, so I had to go back to the lace I had and keep on cutting and making more patterns out of it, so it will fill up to my desired design. So the work continued. I had to keep cutting all sorts of shapes and sizes. I had one that looked like a sunflower. I cut it out. There was a other pattern. Okay, this is two leaves together and some other designs, so I cut it out. And then after cutting the style I want, I would still have to go back and make sure I properly trim off the net from the lace, so it doesn't come out very haggard and very rough. So aside from cutting out the patterns, I had another extra work in making sure I cut out the finishing. I cut off all the extra laces by the edges and the angles, so it comes out very neat. Like when someone picks up one of the pieces and goes through it, you won't even believe it came out from a lace. So I needed a lot of lace actually for this whole thing, so I had 3 yards of lace. Yeah, that was what I bought for the entire thing, but I think at the end of the day I ended up using 2 yards or 2.5 there, but I didn't complete the entire fabric, the entire lace I bought. So just for you to have something very good and not to run out of fabric, so just depending on the size of the person, but at least make sure you get at least 3 yards of a very good lace that you can get out as much patterns from it. So get a very good lace that has a lot of patterns and get as much as 3 yards or more. So I kept on cutting and cutting and cutting. I did this for more than 5 whole hours. I kept on cutting and cutting and getting more and more and more. I really hope this video has been helpful so far. If you have any questions, please don't forget to drop it in the comment section. Just drop your questions. I would always be there to answer you. And please try and like this video. Please like my video, and as well try and subscribe to my channel. This would mean a lot to me. I would really appreciate it. Please try and subscribe to my channel as well. I hope the video is going on so far, and I hope you are able to follow up exactly as I am doing. After a very long task and so many hours, I was able to cut out as much as I could for the next step. So I just placed it out on a white background so you can see what I did. Initially, I was cutting out very small pieces and very fine, but as the girl got tired, I just had to increase the patterns, make it a little bit big, like cut out the flowers and the leaves all together in a piece instead of cutting it out differently like I was before. You get tired and I want to increase your pace. So having gathered enough pieces I cut out, I went back to placing them on the fabric. So at this point, please remember that I had already joined the tulle and the fabric together. So I'll be placing this lace patterns I cut out. I'll be placing it on both fabrics joined together, and I'll be using a pin to fasten it together. So at this point, I will just arrange them all over where I want it to be and use a pin to fasten it to see how the design will come out. If at any point I did not like how it's turning, I'll just remove the pins and change it all over again until I get the exact design I want. So at this point, I'm not adding a gum to it, I'm not adding anything. I will just keep dropping the fabric and using a pin to hold it until I'm satisfied with the design I got. You can see in some of those places there are still a lot of spaces there, so I have to fill up the spaces with more patterns I cut and fasten it with a pin until I'm satisfied with what I have. Here's a full view of what I've arranged so far. So I started with the upper parts first. I don't want it to be too exposing, so I started covering it from my upper bust all through. So my bust area, the under bust, and as it's getting down towards my waist, I kind of made it a bit slanting so it will form like a V shape while it's coming down. I just wanted it to look a little bit different from the usual, so I won't end up covering the entire body with the lace. So there'll be some little openings for the illusion effect to really show. So I kept on arranging to see what it looks like. So I would really advise you do this on a body form to make it easier for you, because at every point I kept on doing this. I kept on trying it on my body to see how it looked like. If it was forming, if it wasn't, then I would remove and replace with some other form. So if you have a body form or a mannequin, you can just place it on it and start the arrangement. It makes it easier. But if you don't have one, you would constantly have to keep trying it on to see what it looks like. If it was the way you planned, if it was making sense, or you work with your measurement. Basically, you make sure it stops at where you want it to stop by measuring it. When you're done with the arrangement and you're satisfied, just like I did earlier, you fasten it with a pin at every angle, at every point. You fasten it well with a pin. Just a quick reminder, please like this video if you haven't, and please subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. It means a lot. Thank you as you do that. So this really got intense at some point. Like it was tiring. Like it was just myself doing the entire process. So it was you can understand what it feels like. You definitely get tired at some point. Back to our work. So at the lower point of the dress where I wanted it to stop, I had to cut out the edges of the lace I used. I'm sure you know so many laces, they have very fine finishing or a different design at the both ends of them. So I just cut out the edges of the lace and I transferred it to the end of my dress as well. The where my dress will be stopping, that's the length of the dress. I just cut it out and then I transferred it to the length of the dress to give it a little different design. So you'll be wondering what we're using a cellophane for, or a nylon I got from the store. So it's still one of the things that have been needed in the process. So I got this cellophane and I wanted to make use of it. So I had to cut off the edges and make it bigger. So here is me cutting it off. And then I would open it up and I will get the full use of it. So I just cut it into a very long and straight size instead. So the main reason I included this cellophane nylon is because I would very soon be adding gum to the designs I cut out from the laces, and then I wouldn't want it to stain and spill all over because there is always a possibility of you just messing up some parts you don't want to with gum and all of that. So in order to prevent that, I would have to place this cellophane nylon just under the net. Then I would fix my gum and it will make it easier for me to remove it. We're making use of a gum as well. Here I have this UHU gum. It's written on it all-purpose adhesive, but we use it for fabric mainly. It gums fabric properly. And then this other one, B6000. This is stronger than the previous one, so I just got all of them together, so I'll keep using them interchangeably and using them at the appropriate time. So you need a lot of gum actually if you be doing a full dress. So I got both together in case one finishes. I start with the other, and I mix the both together, and it gives me the perfect permanent effect I want on the dress. There are other gums I'm sure that are used for fabric or fabric friendly. So if there's anyone you're particularly used to making use of, you can use that. There's another one, B7000 as well. It looks almost like this B6000. So whichever it is you're used to, you use it. But this is what I can get from a local market here. And this is what I've been using for a long time. And this is what I'll be applying. I'm done arranging the upper and the lower part of my dress. Like, it's coming out beautiful already. I can't even wait to see what it'll finally look like. So at this point, I just arranged it and I fastened it to the pin. So I wanted to arrange the shoulder of the dress as well, just a little small line on the shoulder, because I might not wear a bra when I'm wearing the dress. So just in case, I just wanted to arrange some on the shoulder of the dress and fasten it to the pin as well. So at some point, I had to actually try it on myself to see what it looks like before I go back to my table and arrange some. So you can see, coming down from the bust to my belly button, I made it slanting like a V shape, and I left a lot of spaces by each side of my waist just to give it the full illusion effect. Like when someone sees it, they'll feel like, her waist is bare. She didn't cover it with anything, but really, it's all covered with clothes. In fact, 2 layers of clothes, you already know. So the next step is to pick the cellophane or the nylon I cut out and put it in between, just beneath the net I'd already arranged all the laces on. The reason I'm doing this is because I don't want the gum I'll be applying to attached to the other fabric beneath it. So I just want all this design I put, the lace design I put, to just be on the mesh net alone without having to gum to the other part. So that's just my own style. If you really want to do it another way, you can just place both fabrics together and gum it all together, so it will gum both fabrics together. But I wanted it to have a little for it to have a little space and not attach both fabrics together, since basically I even cut them in different ways. The style of cutting the dress was different kind of bodies and all of that. But if you want to, you can just do everything the same way from the start. But for me, this is how I wanted it to be. So I will neatly place this cellophane or the nylon beneath the mesh net, and then I'll start applying my gum. This is actually not an easy thing as well. It's a little bit difficult because you have to be thorough with it. You have to be very neat in doing it. So like I said, the gum can just spill and just spoil the entire beauty of the dress. So you have to be very neat about it and make sure you do it one at a time. Then you focus on each pattern you cut out from the lace. You focus on each, make sure you do it thoroughly, then you can remove the pin that you fastened. So I just started with one, a particular one I did. I put my gum. When I know I was done with putting the gum, then I removed the pin. So that's how I would do for every other piece I arranged on the dress. It's not that simple, but really it's just a basic thing. So that's what I kept on doing and doing till I finished the lower part of the dress. I went ahead to the upper part of the dress, making sure, paying attention to the neat finishing, making sure the gum doesn't stain and just spoils the best part of the dress. I'll make sure the gum doesn't exceed just beneath the lace pattern I cut out. So at every point I kept on doing it. I would make sure I clean my hand, because the gum really spilled on my hand as well, gums to my hand, and if I keep using that same hand to touch some other part of the dress, I already know it's going to stain it. So I made sure I was very thorough and neat about it. So that's how to go about it. So when I'm done fixing gum on a particular portion of a particular side, I make sure the gum dries. Then when it dries, I neatly just lift up the mesh net from the nylon, so it can easily come off. I think the best thing to use is just a cellophane, a nylon. If you're using like a fabric, it might really be hard for it to come off, or you might even pull off the gum from the mesh net instead of it pulling it off from the fabric. Or if you use a paper, definitely it's going to get wet and just all messy and all of that. So the best thing to use is just to use a simple cellophane or a nylon to achieve this. So when I'm done with it, I can get more cellophane, but I use the same cellophane. I repeated it. So once I'm done and I neatly remove it from beneath the mesh net, I take it over to another portion now to add gum and apply the gum, wait for some time. When it's dried, I remove it again and just repeat the process over and over and over again till I get to the very last point of applying the gum. At every point of applying the gum, make sure the lace pattern you've cut out and arranged doesn't move from where you've dropped it at or where you've put it on, so it doesn't disorganize the entire thing and make it look ugly. So make sure you address one at a point. Pick one particular lace pattern you've cut, put gum to it, then remove the pin on it, then move over to the next and the next and the next, so it doesn't come out, so the result doesn't come out different from how you've initially arranged it. So after doing all of that, it's just really it's just really surprising and heartbreaking as well to know that if you want a really permanent effect, then I think gum is not just enough for it. Yeah, the gum is very strong, is fabric friendly and all of that, but what about when you have a first and second wash? You really cannot tell. So part of the gum I start pulling off, and then the dress turns to a drama and it looks like a fake dress. So when I was done with gumming the entire lace patterns to the mesh net, I went ahead to still use my needle and thread to fasten it more. So for the needle and thread, I just focused on the ends or the finishing of the lace patterns I cut out. So it wasn't really intense, but just to fasten one or two together. So I kept on moving from one lace pattern I cut to the other to make sure this gives it a permanent effect. At least if the gum wouldn't give it a permanent effect, then definitely the needle or the thread will. So it's better to use the both options we have rather than just using one, and then in 2-3 weeks you're already back to your dress pulling up, all the designs pulling up, and then you're even already tired. So it's better I just face it and do it once and for all. So I had to use my needle and thread neatly, and I make sure most part of the thread that only showed behind or behind, yes, it did not show on the surface of it. So you can see I used the normal stitching, and I made sure it did not really show on the surface of it, so it was almost invisible. Like you would not even have any feel or any sight of thread at all through the stitching. So I only focused on the ends of the lace patterns, just at the edges, and then in the middle it was just 1 or 2 touches. It wasn't thorough like how I applied the gum to every portion of the lace fabric, of the lace pattern, sorry. And here we go again. Here we come again. This is like the most heartbreaking part of it. The lace pattern I cut was not still enough. Like it wasn't enough. Okay, so for the ones I cut, I was able to fill up all the front to the edges and everything I wanted. But then I have not done the back, so I needed to do the back, and there was nothing left for the back. So I had to go over to that same process again and start cutting more and more and more patterns out so it will fill up the back. This was not really easy. It wasn't fun at some point. Like I actually got that. I wanted to drop it. Like, no, this is too stressful. I'm not sure it's worth it. But really, the end result was totally worth it. It was totally worth it. So if you really want it to be easier for you, you can just make sure you dedicate maybe a day or thereabouts to cut out all the patterns. Like I said, I got 3 yards of fabric and I ended up using about 2.5 or so. So if you really want it to be seamless for you, you can just dedicate a day or a few hours to cut out all the patterns from the 3 yards or the 2.5 yards you have from the lace, so you don't end up going back to this process that I kept on going back to, because at every point I saw that I needed more patterns, and then I'd exhausted the one I'd cut out. It looked like a very hard task to go back and do that again, but really it wasn't so much. So you can just make sure you settle down, cut as much, in fact as much, or cut everything out so you don't end up going back to what I kept on doing, because at some point it was frustrating, really. It was frustrating, but I think it was worth it at the end, just like I said. So you keep cutting and cutting. When you're done cutting, you make sure you go back to each pattern and make sure you give it a thorough finishing at the edges, so it comes out like an applique, or it comes out like a trimix. I'm sure you see how trimix are. You don't see any thread lugging around or hanging around. You don't see any lace coming anywhere around it, just spoiling the entire beauty. It's always thorough. So that's how this should be. And so this is the back of it. I had to fill in all the back. So remember I said earlier, while I was joining the mesh net together, I joined it at both sides and at the shoulders. Then I left the center back opened. So for me, after I filled in the fabric I'd cut out, I filled it into the mesh net. Then I joined both the mesh net and the fabric and joined it both together at the center back. So I held them 2 piece by 2 piece and joined them at the center back. Then I added my zip to it. So instead of having like 2 different finishing at the end, I made the curtains different from the beginning. The front curtains were different, but at the back I just joined them together, going strictly by my measurements and making sure the back of it was still how it should look. When I joined it together, I added an invisible zip to it, so it will look totally invisible. You won't even know there is a zip there. I'm sorry I couldn't put you through the process of sewing it. It was a lot of stress for me, having to record it while I was cutting, record while I was joining the pieces together, record while I was putting the gum and trying to attach it to my needle and thread. Like, it was too much, so I couldn't even continue with recording while I was on the merchant. But I promise to do better next time. I promise to make it easier, better, and show the entire process. But really, we already know how to fix an invisible zip, so it's not so much of a big deal if it's not included here. For the dress length at the back, just like I did in the front, I had cut out a lot of the lace pattern at the edges of the lace, at the edge of the lace. So just the one I used in the front, I rolled it over to the back because it was long enough to sew from the front. After fixing it in the front, I rolled it over to the back so it will fill up the entire edge of the of my dress length, and it will look very, very beautiful. And then there won't be any difference between the front and the back. I also added sleeve to the dress, and I think I missed that out while I was recording it. So I made the sleeve like a full sleeve, and it was only the mesh net I cut for the sleeve. Like, I wanted it to be as transparent as possible, so it was just the mesh net I cut for the sleeve, and it was a long sleeve I cut. Then at the end of the sleeve, just by the wrist of the sleeve, I added little of the lace pattern I had cut out as well. I added it, and I put gum, and I fastened it with my needle and thread as well, just to complete the entire thing. So this is basically the end of the process. I'm so excited. Like, I'm so excited. It was a whole lot of work. Like, I got tired at some point. It got to a point I just packed the entire thing. I was like, I'm not doing it again. Let me just leave it to maybe next month or something, and I'll continue. But really, I was still able to push further and try harder. And tried harder, and I completed it. Like, I completed the dress. Yes. God bless him. God bless him. God bless him. God bless him. Go. Yeah, like, I'm so excited. You won't just understand. I'm so excited I completed the dress. Yeah, and it came out perfect. Like, it came out even beyond what I imagined. It was so beautiful. It was really, really lovely. I had a lot of compliments when I wore it. Everyone wanted to just have what I was wearing, and it was too much. Like, it was just too much. I couldn't contain it. Like, I had a lot of compliments. I had so much attention from everyone when I posted it. Like, it was just too much. And the funny thing was, I made this outfit just for my YouTube channel. Yeah, basically. And then I wanted to wear something nice and just feel myself. So after I made it and I was really loving myself, I was like, no, this won't just end in a YouTube video. So I was like, let me just go to the studio, have some makeup done, get my hair nice, my nails done, and then just have some photo shoot. And then here I was. I went to the studio. I was at the studio. I had my hair done, my nails. I had like a full makeover. Besides, I was the stylist because I decided what I wanted to look like, what I wanted the hair to look like, the kind of makeup I wanted, and really was worth it. Like, it was a lot of work for me coming up with this, and then let me just enjoy the shine. Like, let me enjoy my shine and all of that. So, guess what? The dress didn't just end there. No. I don't do basics. It's either I do a convertible dress or I do something much more dramatic. So I wanted a short dress, actually. I got that, and then I was like, oh, let me try and do something else. But really, this was after the whole stress had worn off. So I was like, okay, let me try and add some drama to it, because it was just a very plain, lovely, nice dress. a midi dress, and it was just, yeah, it was good though, it was beautiful, but I felt it was just there, so I wanted to add some drama. Then with all the drama, I thought of what to do. I needed something really dramatic, so I decided to add a detachable flounced flared at the end of the dress. So we'll make it like a very full and big dress, and then the drama is just from the nails below. Like, it's just too much. You can't even get your eyes on one of the parts of it. So I ended up with this, I added this to it. So I'll be making another video on how I achieved this. That's the lower part of the dress. It's not maybe this much, and it's not so complicated. It was something a little bit hectic. Yeah, it's always hectic, beautiful things doesn't come easy, but definitely it's achievable, and then the stress is always worth it. Yeah, right. Yes. So please watch out for my next video. I'll be showing you how I made this, on how I achieved the full look of it. So please watch out for my next video, guys. Please, if you haven't, try and like my video. I went through a lot making this video for you guys, so please try and like my video and subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel. Please support this girl and subscribe to my channel, like my videos. You can watch my previous videos as well. There are a few videos I just left up in my channel. Please try and watch all those. Thank you so much. And you can see I decided to add some little drama at the top as well, so you can see my beautiful headband I wore. Yeah, I made it so while in the process of doing this entire dress, I wanted a very beautiful glamorous look that I would wear, and heads are turning to see what I wore. And really, I got that, and in fact, far beyond what I expected. So I'll be making another video as well on how I achieved this scrunchy headband. I'll be uploading it very soon, maybe later in the week. Please try and support your girl and watch out for my next video. Okay, I already mentioned 2 videos I'll be making from this same look. So for the scrunchy headband and for the lower part of the dress, please try and watch out for them, and I'm sure it's going to be very insightful and interesting as well. Once again, please try and like my video, subscribe to my channel. Thank you. I'm so emotional right now. I don't feel like leaving. I don't feel like ending this video. I enjoyed every bit of making this video. Really, it was a lot of stress. It was stressful and all of that, but I really enjoyed making it. Looking back at all the stress I had to go through, from the market, cutting the fabric, attaching this, doing that, and all those extra stress of having to cut the lace pattern that to add to fill up the entire dress. It wasn't funny, but it was really stressful. It was really stressful though, but I really enjoyed the result. Just look at that girl, she's really beautiful, hot. I really loved what the outcome was, or what the result was. It was really, really worth it. I was so happy. You can see my excitement, and I kept on dancing and doing all of that in the video. I was really excited, really. So thank you all so much for watching. Thanks for watching to this very point. So please, if you have any questions, just drop it in the comment section. I would always look through it and answer your question. And if you made a replica of this, please, you can tag me on my Instagram handle at Blessing Obafemi. I'll drop it in my description box, so I would see what it looks like, and then we can maybe have 1 or 2 discussions from there. And please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and drop any questions or comments you have in the comment section. I'll definitely respond to you. Then you can check out on my Instagram handles and my other social media handles, Blessing Obafemi. Yeah, that's it. So thank you so much. Please don't forget to watch out for the other videos I mentioned while I was making this video, and please try and click the notification bell, so once I'm dropping a video, you'll be the very first person to know of it, and watch it, of course, because they're always going to be interesting. So don't forget to tag me when you try this out. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really grateful. Thanks for watching. So it's a goodbye from here. Bye. See you next time in my other videos. Bye.